Hi, guys. It is Monday, October 21st, 2024. It is also the second day of the intermediary days of Sukkot, the Feast of the Tabernacles. It is a very holy day, a very auspicious time on the Jewish calendar. And I'm coming forward today to make a short video to tell you guys about the sign that I asked for and the sign that I received from God, from Hashem, about Rev Yirah. I've been holding back telling this story. Those of you who follow me know that I've been waiting for a certain confirmation, which I did receive 3 days ago, on the first day of the holiday. The confirmation came to my doorstep and gave me the permission that I was asking for to repeat this story. This story falls under the category of Hashgacha Pratis, which is Hashem's exquisite divine guidance, particular guidance of each and every one of the details of our lives. God is intimately involved, hears the thoughts of our hearts, and once in a while lets us know. And these are very holy moments to share, very vulnerable. What is the fear I have in sharing it? When I ask myself that question, why was I hesitant? Why am I reluctant to share this with you guys? And the answer that I get inside myself is the fear of it being diminished in my own consciousness, because right now it is precious between me and God and a few select people that I shared it with. But once I tell it publicly, will it be diminished inside my heart? I hope not. I hope it'll only be expanded. And number two, will somebody out there make a comment to diminish my story? I hope not. I know from the Bible that Eliezer, when he was looking for a wife for Yitzchak, when Abraham sent him on the mission, he said, "Let it be the one who offers me water to drink and my camels." And he asked for a sign. And I wrote a whole chapter in my book about asking for signs and different examples that I've had in my life previously where I've received very vivid signs from Hashem. I share those stories in my book. And I think this sign tops them all. This took the number one spot in the way that it took my breath away. And it starts in the last week of September, Wednesday, September 25th. I woke up in the morning, and just to backtrack a little bit, it had been occurring to me in my consciousness exactly who Rabbi Yirah is and the tremendous role he is playing in the redemption, the leadership role that he is playing. And if you want to know what I'm referring to, go back and watch class number 51. And you will get all the details of how the intuition came to me through Rabbi Gozlan, how when he was describing who the figure we are waiting for, all the characteristics he will have, and how Rabbi Yirah matches them all. And he solidified for me in my consciousness enough to come forward, to think about coming forward publicly in Rishus HaRabim, in the public domain, with my thoughts about who Rabbi Yirah is. And I understood the gravity of that declaration, and I was reluctant to do it out of fear of being misunderstood, out of fear of misleading people, God forbid. I had many apprehensions. So I said to Hashem that Wednesday morning, I said, "Hashem, if you want me to do this, if you want me to come forward with my intuition about who Rabbi Yirah really is, you need to give me a sign." And I remember thinking this in my bed. I was still half asleep in my bed. I was like, "Hashem," I was being tormented. I was like, "Should I? Shouldn't I? Should I? Shouldn't I? Is he? Isn't he? Is he? Isn't he?" Back and forth in a state of suffix, in a state of limbo and doubt, which was a horrible place to be. And so I was like, "Hashem, I need Yishuf Hadas. I need to have a calmness of spirit, of mind, of knowing, Yishuv Da'as, of just knowing what the heck is happening here. And if you give me that knowing, I will come forward. I made that deal with Hashem. I will come forward with the information on my YouTube channel. So I was in my bed, and I've had this before where it kind of like drops in, where it kind of like it's not really my idea, but an idea that comes to me from an outside, maybe an angel. I don't know who gave me this idea, but the idea in my bed on that Wednesday morning was, let Rabbi Daniel Gladstein drive past you today. If you see him drive past you today, then you will know that Rabbi Yirah Ha'ari is who you think he is, and this could be your sign to come forward with it. This will be your sign to come forward with that information on your channel. So I had the first inklings of that thought early in the morning. And then I was walking to work, and I walk to work now because I gave my son, my youngest son, my 17-year-old, my car. I gave him my car. Why? Because I wanted to read Zohar at my Shabbos table. And it would bother him when I did that. He'd be like, oh, why are you reading this again? It would annoy him. So I said, if you let me read Zohar at the Shabbos table, you can have my car. It'll be your car. Whenever I need the car, I'll say, Mordechai, can I borrow your car? And that's how we do it. He's got the car, and I borrow it when I need it. Just for me to be able to read Zohar at the Shabbos table is so worth it. Worth it. Anyway, so I'm walking to work. And I'm like, all right, Hashem, remember that deal we made a couple hours ago? We'll see if Rabbi Daniel Gladstein, and I chose Daniel Gladstein. Why did I choose Rabbi Gladstein? Because a few weeks before that, I had realized that his synagogue is in my neighborhood. I have been following him on YouTube for months, and I'm a big fan. He's a big scholar, big Torah scholar, and he incorporates a lot of Kabbalah in his classes, which I love. And my friend Garment Shaul from YouTube, Garment of Esav, had did a video collab with him about Reb Shlomo Malchom. And I know that Garment had found his own huge sign from Hashem, from a sefer from Reb Shlomo Malchom, who was the Mashiach ben David of his generation. He found the big sign about Rabbi Yirah Ha'ari in one of his books. So my intuition is because I was so excited to have found out that Rabbi Daniel Gladstein lives one neighborhood over. If I'm in this neighborhood, he's in one neighborhood over from me. So that was the sign that came to me. Hashem, if Rabbi Yirah Ha'ari is who I think he is, I want Rabbi Daniel Gladstein, who I had never seen before in real life. I've never seen him. I've only watched him on YouTube. I want him to drive past me. And I was like, oh, shoot. This is a big one, Hashem. I'm like, I understand if you can't deliver this one. I know that is a huge, it's like even bigger than Eliezer in the Bible asking for a girl to offer the camels a drink of water. Like, this is to ask for somebody to drive past you. The statistical odds of that is so infinitesimally small, that I was like, maybe that was too crazy of a sign to ask for. But I just let it be. And I walked to work, and I had my day, and I kind of forgot about it. And at about 5 o'clock at the end of my day, my grandson comes to my office. My daughter brings my grandson, my 2-year-old grandson, to the office. And as is our usual custom, I take him outside because there's a dog behind the fence. There's a huge, 5-foot dog that we like to go visit. So I took him to the doggy. We hung out there for a few minutes, and then we heard the horn of the train, the choo-choo, which is 2 blocks up from my office. And we heard choo-choo, we heard the train. So he's going crazy. He wants to see the train. So I jog up the block with my grandson on my hip, running up the block, the 2 blocks to the train. We make it all the way in time for the train to pass by us, waving to the train. I'm out of breath. I'm walking, and we turn around, and my daughter catches up to us, and I'm walking back with my daughter and my grandson, and we stop at the street. We look both ways to cross the street. And as I'm looking to cross the street, as I'm looking to cross the street, I look left and I see a little gray car making a turn like this. And I look in the window of the car. And in that moment, it was if all of time and all of creation stood still. And if it was as if the face in the car zoomed up to my face like this. And also, it was as if I had lived this moment 1,000 other times. That was the feeling that I had inside those moments. Time slowed down. We came face to face, and it was as if I had lived this moment 1,000 times. I don't even know what that means, but that's what I felt. And who was it driving past me? I was like, that is Rabbi Daniel Gladstein. That is him. That is the face I have watched on YouTube for months. And I see him and I follow the car all the way. He makes a turn from here to the right. And I'm like this. I follow him with my finger like this. And he rounds the corner. I don't even think he saw me. And my jaw was like, what? What? I couldn't believe that I was seeing him. I couldn't believe it. And my daughter next to me was like, Mom, you're okay? Like, what's going on right now? And I was like, Kayla, get the license plate. So she looks at the license plate. She takes down the first 3 letters. I was like, get that license plate. And he continues on, and that was it. The moment was over, and I am freaking out and spazzing the whole rest of the way back to the office. I'm like, Kayla, you don't understand what just happened. You don't get it. You will never understand what just happened. And I was just totally blown away, blown back. I was like, Hashem, how on earth did you just make that happen? How on earth did you just make that happen? And that was my story. And that was the confirmation that I had asked for not even 12 hours earlier from my bed in the morning. Hashem, if Rabbi Yirah is who I think he is, I want Rabbi Daniel Gladstein to drive past me. 1 in a million. You know how quick it is when someone drives by you? You could miss it. What a ridiculous request I had, but that's how Hashem is. And one of the few people that I told this story to, she told me, Hashgacha pratis, divine coordination, comes from above the constructs of the tree of life. It comes from the Or Ein Sof, the infinite, endless light of Hashem. Hashgacha pratis, and that was the best answer that I could have ever gotten from anybody. She really validated my story. So why was I reluctant to come forward with this story? Because I wasn't sure, 100% sure it was him. I'm like, maybe I was imagining it. Maybe it wasn't his face. I have never seen him in real life. Maybe I'm crazy. So I was like, okay, Hashem, I need confirmation on that license plate. So I email Rabbi Gladstein, and I understand him for not answering me because I look like a crazy person. And so I let it go. I was like, by the way, is your license plate end in begin in and whatever? No answer. That's fine. So I was like, Hashem, I need confirmation. I'm not sure how you can get me this confirmation, but I'm not coming forward with this story about Reb Yirah being the Raya Mehemana, the Goel Rishon, the Goel Acharon, Moshe Rabbeinu, the faithful shepherd, until you give me confirmation that that license plate belongs to Rabbi Daniel Gladstein. So the first day of Yantiv, I'm in my living room reading Shir HaShirim, the Kabbalah, the Zohar, and Shir HaShirim in preparation for my class. Next Thursday, we started Shir HaShirim. And I hear a group of men. We have a shul in my basement. We have a synagogue where the men come to pray in my basement. And we had minyanim on Yantif. So the men come up, gathered in my living room. And I hear them talking about Rabbi Daniel Gladstein. They're talking about the different rabbis, the different shuls in the neighborhood, and I hear his name. And I was like perked up. I'm like, oh, you guys know him? And they're like, yeah. I was like, oh, just schmoozing, very nonchalant. I'm trying to get my information that I need. I was like, and do you guys happen to know where he lives? I'm like, "Where's his shul?" And they told me where his shul is. I'm like, does he live close to the shul?" Like, "Yeah, one of the guys named Shmuley." Thank you, Shmuley. Shmuley says to me, "He lives on the third house of this block, across from this intersection." And I was like, note to self, walk past there later today. So later that day, I took a walk by myself, talking to Hashem the whole time, shaking, nervous, nervous both ways, nervous to receive the confirmation, nervous not to receive the confirmation. I start on the block of his house. And I just know I'm going to see the car. I just know I'm going to see the car. Halfway up the block, I see the car. I see the car and I see the plates that have the license plate. I get the confirmation that I needed, and then I look up and I see a bunch of kids in his window waving at me from his window. So I feel like a stalker at that point. So I turn around and I rush home. And I am just again blown away how Hashem brought me the information to my house, to my doorstep, for the confirmation that I needed. And part of that deal now was that I would come forward with the sign that I received from Hashem, the 1 in a million, of asking for somebody to drive past me. I mean, think about it. Ask Hashem to have your neighbor drive past you that day, and the odds are, 1 in 100, let's say. Ask Hashem for a total stranger, somebody who lives one town over, to drive past you that day. See if it happens. So I felt it was my obligation to come forward with this story. And anytime the suffix, the doubt starts to creep back into my mind, am I crazy? Is this real? Is this really happening? Have we found our man? I reach back into that moment of absolute awe, of Yirah, absolute Yirah Hashem that I had in that moment of having asked for a sign, having received the sign, and I anchor in my da'as and knowing that we are here. We have arrived at the threshold. And this character we've been waiting for, this Gilgal, is on the planet with us. He's here. And he's leading the way. His channel is called Restoration of the Breach. I'll post it below. And his wife, Rebbitzin Rose, I'm going to post her channel as well. She does Zohar readings every Sunday. There's a group of women doing this. And this is the forefront. This is the leading edge. Rabbi Yirah Ha'ari has another 40 days in which he is fasting to annul the evil, any remaining residual harsh decrees, so we can continue walking b'nachas, b'ragua, with mercy and pleasantness and ease and sweetness into the Atika Kadisha timeline, the highest timeline for Geula, for redemption of the planet. Mwah. Chag Sameach, and have an easy and happy connected day. Thank you for listening to my story.